Mercedes, Ferrari, McLarens, you name it. There's Rima Jafali now, Saudi Arabian driver, and I have to say, what a trendsetter, and has done so well, certainly in her motorsport career as well, to get to this point as well at the GTOpen. Very excited. We spoke to her yesterday. She is thrilled to be here. She's excited. She's confident in the car, Adam. Let's see how she performs.
Yeah, Rima Jafali teaming with Adam Christodoulou, a Nürburgring 24-hour race winner, a serial driver coach. He's behind the successes of a great many drivers all across the world. And Rima Jafali, one of the star students of the current era, she will now be sharing this wonderful FIBA Motorsport Mercedes AMG GT3 with Adam Christodoulou this weekend. It's Rima in the car for now. We also briefly saw the 77 car out of the Kessel Racing stable. That's the Ferrari of Charles Hollings for this session. That car was listed in Pro-Am on all of the documentation. It's now been demoted down to the Am class. Omar Jackson and Charles Hollings. Omar, who has done some Ferrari Challenge competition and raced with Kessel during that phase of his career as well, and Charles Hollings, who has really done it all from junior Formula competition through to a decade-long career of GT racing success up to and including the World Endurance Championship and the Le Mans 24 Hours. You can say that about so many of the drivers we have here in the paddock. It really is a star-studded hospitality area and a star-studded set of garages here in the GTOpen paddock.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Adam. It has to be said. I mean, Leonardo Pulcini as well, representing the Oregon team in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3, of course. Euro Formula Open champion back in 2016, of course. The supporting series of the GTOpen, of course. And he's done so much as well, and including a win at Estoril in that first round in that international GTOpen as well. So he's well versed to this circuit. So I'm sure we'll see some very positive laps from him. He's going to be partnering Benji Hites as well in this championship, so looking forward to seeing how they perform. But plenty of grandiose cars. There again is the Axiom sponsored Mercedes as well as they round the next left, and going to be partnering Moritz Krantz, of course, the Janine Schaffner, a very colourful character, a thrill seeker as well, Adam. She loves a thrill. She loves to explore the world, be tenacious. I'm sure we'll see that today.
It's not often when racing a GT3 car at the Nürburgring is considered a downgrade from your previous thrill-seeking exploits, but Janine Schaffner, a very, very prolific skydiver. She hasn't dived for a few years, she told me, in Barcelona during pre-season testing. However, when she was diving on a regular basis, she was pretty much the foremost skydiving photographer. Yes, that is an occupation in the world. At one time, she had pretty much every single skydiving relevant magazine cover to her credit and to her name. She really is a fascinating character, as you alluded to. The times are coming in thick and fast at the moment. For now, it's David Fumanelli in the 133 Kessel Racing Ferrari at the top of the order, but let's see what Moritz Krantz can do. He's purple in the first two sectors. It's certainly looking like a promising time. He's following another of the Get Speed Mercedes across the line. Let's see what Krantz can do. It's a 136.141. That's a decent benchmark.
Not a bad place to start for Moritz Krantz there, the Pro-Am driver, making his way to the top and setting a fastest sector 3, of course, in the process. That we are seeing some improvement here from Joe Osborne as well. There is the McLaren, number 72. Nick Moss partnering him as well this season as he now rounds this next right. Of course, the sole McLaren on the grid as he now rounds the final corner, leading down the home stretch. Where's Joe Osborne going to be? Surely it's going to be on top as he crosses the line. Is it going to be that for Joe Osborne? It certainly is. A 1:35.330. Beautiful stuff, Adam.
There you go. So that's within a second of the fastest time we saw during free practice yesterday. It was a 1:34.675 from David Fumanelli. That was the quickest time we saw across the free practices on Friday. Joe Osborne, I'm sure he'll be able to get more out of this McLaren as the session evolves, and we'll have to see if I am right in that hunch, but certainly if we don't go sub 1:34 here, I lose a bet, I think, at the bare minimum. Osborne pulls out of the lap, though, coming out of Curva VIP, turn 4. So Osborne decides that lap's not worth pursuing, even though he was purple in the first sector split. And the 720S GT3, as you alluded to, it's the only one on the grid, and it's such an aggressive GT3 car. If you look back to where GT3 cars were in their inception in 2006, which was also the first season for International GTOpen, and now look at where they are today. The contrast is frankly ridiculous. They're so wide, they're so imposing, and they are truly awe-inspiring race cars.
Oh, absolutely wonderful to look at, and if you could piece together a lovely livery, cherry on the cake, Adam. As we actually, taking a look around turn one, we stood upon turn one the other day, and we could not believe how late they were almost breaking in towards turn one. It was almost, we saw the 100-meter board on the left-hand side, and you were mentioning the deceleration heading into the corner. It was unbelievable to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, they must be topping 170 coming out of the Parabolica Ayrton Senna and going down the main straight here at Estoril, and they have to slow to not far above 50 mile an hour to make the apex for turn one, and they do it all in frankly a counterintuitive amount of space and distance, but they always seem to get it stopped, except for when they don't, and I'm sure we'll see that a couple of times throughout the day. Yannick Mettler with SPS Automotive Performance. There's a team that has had quite a bit of success here in International GTOpen in years gone by with different driver combinations. It was an SPS Automotive Performance Mercedes that showed up and did some very good things back here in Estoril when we were last here. We're back in Estoril for the first time in quite a few seasons with the International GTOpen. And these GT3 machines on a circuit like Estoril, where there isn't that much width to play with, but there are some heavy braking zones and some high-speed corners, it really does make for some interesting stuff.
Yeah, very technical circuit, lots of twisting sections. So when you head it out of the middle sector, of course, you've got a little bit of a straight there out of turn 5, leading down towards turn 6, but certainly not to the extent of heading down towards turn 1. Joe Osborne, incidentally, has just gone purple in sector 2 as well, so he is certainly looking to fly. Yannick Mettler, who we're currently seeing on our screens, is also currently in sector 2. We'll see what he can register. There's Joe Osborne as well in the car number 72 McLaren, making his way through, and as I said, registering a purple sector 2 time, rounding the final corner. This is also an improvement so far as he now heads down through towards the line here past the grandstand here at Estoril, as he now passes in. 135.327 is what he registers. Purple in sector 3 as well, Adam.
Very good lap from Joe Osborne. Again, one would expect that the benchmark will drop as the session goes on, but for now Osborne some 4/10 clear at the moment in this Pro Class McLaren 720S GT3. As you may well be aware, the combination of Joe Osborne and Nick Moss were here last year in the Pro-Am category. Nick Moss still listed as a bronze-rated driver in the FIA certifications, but he's decided to go for the fences. He's decided to have a swing in the Pro Class, and certainly a combination of Optimum Motorsport, Joe Osborne and Nick Moss. They were competitive in Pro-Am, and I'm very keen to see how they face up against some of the giants we have in the Pro Class.
He loves a challenge, though. I remember reading an article earlier this year. He did an interview, certainly with the team here at GTOpen, and just talking about how much he likes a challenge. He loves being part of the GTOpen Championship, and they make a formidable team. I have to say, Joe Osborne himself, no mean feat. He can challenge, and he's certainly up at the top end. He's got a very well-versed racing career behind him, and certainly McLaren driver as well, and certainly showing it in the McLaren right now in the Optimum Motorsport car as they round the next right-hander. And certainly the one who's actually improving is David Fumanelli at this moment in time. He's gone purple in sector 1 and currently in sector 2 as we now watch the Optimum Motorsport car move in towards the pit lane, and as we now see, that I believe is the Kessel Racing car of David Fumanelli there, Adam.
Yep, Fumanelli, who was the pace setter in the sessions yesterday in free practice, so we'd expect good things from the Kessel Racing car, the 133. You can tell that at various points they've pushed it a little too far by the fact that he's got a plain carbon fibre front assembly on the machine. That was once red. They did have to raid the spare parts bin, though. Here comes Fumanelli across the line. Let's see if he can beat Joe Osborne's benchmark. No, but it's very close. Just over, well, a quarter of a tenth, let's say, between Osborne and Fumanelli. Fumanelli goes second in the 133 car for the time being. but I'm sure he's got some more in the back pocket.
Just under 300ths slower. Marcin Jedlinski, unfortunately, time deleted after track limits at turn 4, but nevertheless, incredible. Getting closer and closer, David Fumanelli, but I'm sure there's more in the tank, to say the least. Still, Yannick Mettler in 3rd with Moritz Krantz in 4th. There's the number 8 car being driven by Alex Frasinetti, heading through the next right-hander, part of the Pro-Am category as well, currently lying in P4 in terms of the current Pro-Ams. And you can now see them. El Baroni Rampante is the team, of course. Right in the next left in the Lavazza coffee livery. I do love a bit of coffee myself, to say the least, as he rounds to the next left and heads up towards the next right. Like I said, a very technical twisting circuit here, Adam. You have to have your wits about you. I tell you what, and as you can see, there's a little bit of traffic coming into the next left-hander.
Yes, there is. Let's see if that affects the lap. He was so squirrely under braking into turn 1. I suspect the brake bias was a little bit rearward as he went into turn 1, Frasinetti. It was very impressive. Frasinetti has basically been a part of GT3 racing from the ground floor. Was actually very prominent in the early stages of the old European GT3 Championship with BMS Scuderia Italia. Has been in Porsche single make racing and the Italian GT Championship in subsequent years, but great to have him in the international GTOpen, and he's familiar with the Huracan too. He was the Italian GT champion in 2017, driving an example of the Lamborghini Huracan GT3. Giuseppe Cipriani, meanwhile, his teammate, highly decorated in international GTOpen and elsewhere. In terms of the Pro-Am lineups, I have to think that number 8 Lamborghini is a favourite, and here is a potential favourite in the Pro class. It's the number 63 car out of the Oregon team stable. The Oregon team car's so distinctive, courtesy of that pink, yellow, green livery. But would you believe me if I said this was their first time driving GT3 cars or running GT3 cars? It is. Rather surprised by that myself, but it hasn't happened before now. Moving up from the world of Lamborghini Super Trofeo competition and so on, and doing so with the driver we were on board with there, Leonardo Pulcini. Pulcini clearly hustling this car, George, and yes, I alluded to a few moments ago, clearly one of the top contenders for the season.
Definitely has certainly a great pedigree in terms of single-seaters as he comes up now towards the line as the 36-1 at this moment in time. Still nothing has toppled Joe Osborne up at the top of the standings, but you've got a 3-string of Pro-Ams, P2, 3 and 4. Leonardo Pulcini then sitting in behind them in 5th place. But just another point, of course, recently the likes of Leonardo Pulcini in recent years has competed in the feeder series of single-seaters and has done great work for the likes of Carlin and High Tech GP, including being a race winner as well at Silverstone. So he's got lots of ability, lots of pace, and I certainly would not, in an instant, say that he has, no good chance in this event. I think he could go far.
Well, I mean, he was turning heads in the Grand Prix paddocks by and large throughout his stint in junior single-seaters. And he is now hoping to become a factory GT3 driver. He said to me in pre-season that was the goal. Here is an Audi from Olymp Racing. If you've got the entry list printed in front of you, you might be thinking, well, what? It's meant to be a Ferrari. No, the 777 car is now an Audi R8 LMS Evo 2. This car has been wheeled out of the truck because the Ferrari, unfortunately, seemed to be having some issues in pre-event testing. So they've moved on to the Audi R8, a car that the Olymp team are familiar with running. And the 777 moving up to 9th there in the very capable hands of Marcin Jedlinski. Jedlinski, the Polish driver, we expect great things from him. Here comes Pulcini. The lap not looking that much of an improvement to me. No, 136.183, quite away. Well, actually, no, only a couple of hundredths off his best, I should say. But Pulcini still looking for the ultimate pace. We are now halfway through the session, so let's run you through the top 10 at the moment. It's a 135.327 for Joe Osborne, the fastest of our drivers, as Pulcini locks up there at turn 3. David Fumanelli, second place in the Kessel Racing 133 Ferrari. That's a 135.354. Yannick Mettler with a 135.729 in the 54 SPS Mercedes. The number 9, another Mercedes from the Get Speed crew, Moritz Kranz, on a 136.040. Leonardo Pulcini, who we see on screen now, that's the car in 5th position, the number 63, running on a 136.160 as best at the moment, but that could come down before I get through this top 10. Alex Frasinetti in the number 8 is 6th position. That's the Barone Rapante Lamborghini. Kevin Gilardoni in the sister Oregon team Lamborghini in 7th. Martin Conrad in the number 25, the Landgraf Mercedes in the famous Mamba Man filter colours. That's 8th place. Jamie Stanley for AF Corsa Ferrari. Great to have them back with us in 9th place at the moment in that AM class entry. Then rounding out the overall top 10 at the moment is Charles Hollings in the 77 Kessel car. Pulcini looks like he may be improving slightly here, George. Let's see what the lap looks like.
Yeah, heading down towards the line now, out of the Parabolica Ayrton Senna. Team Oregon looking on, as now we can see Pulcini head towards the line, and he does nestle in, I believe, a 36.041, still off his best right now, but he is going to have to go again. Still 12.5 minutes left, plenty of time, I have to say, as we now look at the Team GT car of Bernard Laber coming through the next left. As he does so, he's going to look to register a time too, as he now makes his way down the stretch and leading down towards the next right, and is currently +4, just under +4 tenths, so he's got a little bit of work to do, but still okay, out on track, plenty of time to nestle in a fast lap.
Yeah, so that's that almost +4 that George references is compared to the pole sitter. So if you see green times on your screen, that does mean that it's an improvement relative to their personal best. So even if they are a little way back in terms of the plus numbers on your screen, they may still leap up the order. That's not going to be the case for Bernard Laber on this occasion, though. The Team GT Mercedes 15th and likely to remain in 15th because of a rather weak-looking middle sector, and actually no, improves by 138.924, settles the car in 14th place. Here's the number 786 car, and I know this is a car that will be of special interest to the motoring community in Thailand. It's Kiki Satnana, the former drifting icon who competed at the highest levels of that particularly sideways sport, has since had several years in the Nürburgring 24-hour, etc. With Get Speed, moving up to International GTOpen this year. And Kiki, well, he's told me before that he's some combination of excited, nervous and scared for this season, and he'll be looking to improve from his 16th position in the 786 car.
Yeah, and what a character as well.
Yeah.
We got to meet him in the pit lane yesterday, and he was so excited for the weekend. And as he now makes his way down the home stretch now, he's going to have the start-finish line that's going to beckon out in front of him. Can Kiki Satnana show a little bit of improvement? Let's have a look. Currently sat in 16th, but no improvement on that time. Still remains as he is right now is the Mercedes AMG GT3, and is going to go around again without any shadow of a doubt. We just got over 10 minutes left, folks. Still plenty of time. Joe Osborne still on top with a 135.327 for the Optimum Motorsport team. Of course, the sole McLaren in this lineup. David Fumanelli in second. And here is another Kessel racing car. Car number 73, as driven by Roman Zimian, who's currently in, well, he's listed a time in Sector 1, looking to improve again in Sector 2 as well. Could be a good day for Kessel Racing. They've got a huge army in their garage this weekend.
Roman Zimian teaming with Axel Jeffries in this number 73 car. A little bit of a fun fact, though, on Roman. Doing some research coming into this one, I found out that Zimian, in Polish, translates to Earthlings. That's interesting, isn't it? So a little bit spacey. Maybe he should talk to Janine Schaffner about that as husband John Schaffner gets ready to become a space pilot himself. I'm sure we'll get to more on that later on, but let's see how Zimian does in the 73 car, the Pro-Am entry, 15th at the moment. What's this lap looking like? Does it put him up the order? I think the answer is no. It was only 143.78 actually, so it wasn't really a particularly hot lap, but in Axel Jeffries, he has a mighty co-driver, Axel, who has done a number of Lamborghini Super Trofeo seasons and title-winning seasons to boot. And if you rewind about a decade, Axel was actually a regular in the paddock here in the GT Sport organisation, albeit with the former FIA Formula 2 Championship. He raced in that in the early 2010s. The Zimbabwean driver has been on the international scene now for over a decade, and I'd expect him to be piloting that Kessel car to quite a lot of success as the season goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. We're now looking at the Mercedes-AMG GT3 of Steve Jans, and he's making his way now, the Belgian, round the next right. And there's the other Get Speed car, is driven by Moritz Kranz, who's currently sat in 4th as he now rounds the final corner, heads down the stretch. You can see there the Team GT car just ahead of it as well. Mercedes very highly decorated in this field this week, and as he now makes his way across the line, it is 3rd place, an improvement for Moritz Kranz, purple in Sector 2 as well, so good performance.
Yes, that does look very promising indeed. We've got 8 minutes of this session left to go. I expect the proverbial limbo bar to be lowered to the point of 6 inches off the floor before the end of this session. It's Joe Osborne still with the benchmark, 135.327. As I alluded to earlier on in the broadcast, we have seen much quicker out of the cars. Yesterday, a 134.675 from David Fumanelli in at that 133 Kessel entry yesterday. But of course, different day, different conditions. They might not get that low. However, the purples are coming in. Yannick Mettler has a string of 2 purple sectors as we look at him now going through Gancho. The car bouncing over the curbs and the natural ripples in the tarmac. Turns it through the S's. Next up is the Parabolica Ayrton Senna. You have to pick your opportunity. You have to pick your moment when it comes to putting the power down. Put it down too early and you could face a track limits warning. You could face the gravel if you get it particularly wrong. Here comes Yannick Mettler in the 54 car, currently 4th. Let's see if he improves. Yes, he goes top, a 135.007. And even though he's not an Aston Martin, he'll be delighted with that particular lap time. Moritz Kranz will be trying to improve on that, but I think he may have backed out of the lap actually looking at the middle sector. But Yannick Mettler is the new benchmark holder. Great lap.
Super lap indeed. He's over 0.3 of a second faster, as now we're watching Moritz Kranz come across the line as well. But obviously not setting a representative lap time just yet. He will go again though, without a doubt. But what a time from Yannick Mettler, really doing the business here. Leonardo Pulcini also out and about round in the next right as we're watching the Get Speed performance car. And what a stunning lap by Yannick Mettler. Incredible.
Yeah, Pulcini off screen did improve on that time, a 135.763. However, he didn't actually move up the order, so he got a personal best, but he's still not quite able to break into the first 2 rows of the grid. Of course, it will be a rolling start later on when we go racing in the International GTOpen for the first time in 2022. Yannick Mettler would be delighted to be the one that dictates the pace as they roll in 2x2 formation towards the start gantry and of course the braking zone turn 1. It's one of the most fraught runs to turn 1 that we're going to see all season long here at the Estoril circuit. Myself and George, we've spoken about it already. We were sat there at T1. We know how much braking has to go on there, and when you're knee-deep in a pack of GT3 cars, it's very difficult to sight your braking marker, especially on cold tyres.
It certainly is. I mean, you've seen a few rough and ready moments, and obviously the crosswind as well could be quite aggressive. Oh, there's an Oregon car that's just gone wide. Oh, dearie me.
That's Pulcini having a bit of an off there at coming out of turn 2. That's one of the most common places to get it wrong. And it's the arbiter of doom for many a fast lap. Is Joe Osborne the arbiter of doom for Yannick Mettler? He's on a purple first sector, so he could well be. Let's keep an eye on this 72 McLaren out of the Optimum Motorsport stable. Drags down towards turn 7 and will soon cross the line for the second sector split. Doesn't look like he's on the limit to me through that corner, but the sector could soon prove me wrong. He does find traffic in the form of the 73 Kessel car, but he's still up. Wow, he was a lot more up than I thought he was going to be. Osborne is on a flyer. Fumanelli is setting purple sectors as well, but let's keep an eye on Joe Osborne. He's through the penultimate corner. He's got more traffic ahead. I don't want to know what he's saying in his helmet right now, but I'm sure not all of it is broadcastable at light hours. Let's see what Joe Osborne could do. He's a bit wide out of the final corner. He's got a bit of slipstream off the 786 car. Let's see what happens when he crosses the line. Does he go top? Yes, a 134.795 for Joe Osborne. The bar is lowered. Let's see what Fumanelli can do.
Yeah, I have to say, what a lap from Joe Osborne using the slipstream too, but what about David Fumanelli in the Kessel racing car, round in the next right-hander. He's set purple in sector 2 as well. This is quick, heading through the next left, and in the Ferrari, surely they're going to be landing some serious blows here. Round the Parabolica, Ayrton Senna as well. Certainly Fumanelli has only one thing on his mind, and that's to topple the McLaren. Here comes now Fumanelli up towards the line. Is it going to be that magical P1 position? Purple sector 1, purple sector 2, purple sector 3. Fumanelli on top here with a 34.393. Special lap there, Adam.
Fastest lap of the weekend in competitive sessions here from the Kessel racing car. David Fumanelli, delightful drive in that lap. He's gone 3/10 quicker than he did yesterday in free practice, and I get the feeling there may be more to come, if not from him, from others. And sure enough, he's purple already in the first sector split on the lap. Here he comes through the curve of VIP, turn 4. Squares off the corner very nicely indeed to get the power down early. The small kink of turn 5 is really a non-event in anything with any amount of downforce. The Parabolica interior, so easy to get it wrong here. Just step the car out an inch wide and you've lost your lap. He just about nailed that braking zone though, I think. Gets the power down, nice run out of T6 onto turn 7 now. He's approaching the second sector split, and he'll be keeping an eye on the delta on the middle of his Ferrari 488 GT3 screen in the steering wheel. Let's see what kind of split it is. It's another purple. It's hundredths of a second, but the smallest margins make a difference. So you can bet he's going to push on. He just gets the car a little loose and lively. Coming out of the Gancho chicane, now he's through the S's, round the Parabolica, Ayrton Senna. This is going to be a stunning lap. I'm not quite sure it's going to be sub 134, but it's going to be an improvement. It's going to further solidify, surely, his lap time, his pole position here. Let's see, he's only a few hundredths up though. It's a 134.5, so he lost it all in the final sector split. David Perrell there watching on, Owen Zanotti. That is the Kessel garage there. Just getting a look at some of the personnel there in the Kessel garage. But Fumanelli, it looked spectacular. He was seesawing on the wheel, but George, I think ultimately that cost him.
I think it did, just sending it maybe a little bit too hard, but I have to say, still a top-end performance. David Fumanelli on top billing with Joe Osborne, hot on his heels still. No purple sector 1 for Joe Osborne this time, but still, you never know. Minute and 20 to go. We've seen some stoppage time things in motorsport before where things have all come tumbling down and changed all up, but I have to say, so far, David Fumanelli, a huge effort on that previous run, and managing to nestle in a 134.393. Not bad at all. And certainly, I'd imagine his partner in crime, Murat Çağrıoğlu, is going to be absolutely delighted with those efforts in qualifying. Puts them in an ideal spot, certainly to get this race underway. And I'm fully expecting a great Kessel racing performance this weekend.
Yeah, that car has looked strong all weekend long to this point. There's only so much you can glean from one lap pace, but the combined forces of the Turkish-Italian driver lineup certainly looking good, and it's David Fumanelli who has put them on provisional pole for now. There are only 6 cars out on circuit, including this Ferrari, as the clock ticks down to under the 30-second mark. Who could improve? Well, Moritz Kranz is out there on circuit in 4th place. Jamie Stanley is out there. We've got 15 seconds to go. There aren't many candidates out there on circuit for a buzzer beater, but we'll have to see if anyone challenges the front couple of rows of the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. Timer ticking down. 5 seconds left in the session as we now strike 0, folks. That is the end. The checkered flag has raised, but we've still got a couple of cars out on track. We'll obviously keep an eye on and see if we can see any improvements. But there is the 133, David Fumanelli in the Ferrari for Kessel Racing. And he's going to be absolutely delighted with those final 2 runs. I would call that a clutch finish, Adam.
I would say so. I think he'll be disappointed, though. He'd have wanted to get into the 133, so the time matched the number on the side of the car. A 134.393, a fabulous time, though. The fastest we've seen all weekend long. Shades of Nicky Lauda out of that helmet, isn't there? And that was certainly a driver with some qualifying prowess to his name. Fumanelli with a brilliant showing here, and getting plaudits from everyone here at Kessel, and deservedly so. There are only a couple of cars that haven't come back into the pit lane, and none of them look to be on particularly electrifying laps. So it does look like we're going to have 3 brands in the top 3, and Yannick Mettler is at the bottom of that top 3 for Mercedes, for SPS Automotive Performance, the Pro-Am car. Yannick Mettler showing his form and showing his pace in the Merc there. Then it was Joe Osborne in the McLaren, curb hopping through Gancho. The slow motions at that particular corner never get old, and Optimum Motorsport will be looking for a good run. They are by far the fastest pro entry in the lineup so far. And here's the 133 David Fumanelli. We've said a lot about it already. Hyperbolic speak on this particular car and the performance of its driver, all very much deserved. And let's see how that qualifying pace translates once we go racing. So we will soon hear from Fumanelli, I'm sure, but in the meantime, we look at the paddock there, and here is the order in full. I believe we're going to see Fumanelli on top by 0.4 of a second. That's a significant margin. Joe Osborne second, Mettler in third, Moritz Kranz for Get Speed Performance in 4th place, third among the Pro-Ams, Leonardo Pulcini in 5th. Then the first of the Am drivers, Martin Conrad with a stellar lap in the Man Filter Team Landgraf machine, Jamie Stanley 7th, Kevin Gilardoni in 8th place, the Il Baron Repante car of Alex Fascinetti in 9th, Charles Hollings rounding out the top 10 with a 136.314. Then it was Steve Jans in the Get Speed Performance number 911, yes, a 911 Mercedes, it's weird. Rima Juvafelli is next, she had a great run in the Thiba Motorsport car, Marcin Jedlinski in the 777, then Bernard Laber in the Team GT car, Kiki Naksana 15th, Roman Seaman, Stephen Earle and Stanislav Jedlinski rounding out the 18 cars we had here in this qualifying session. There we get another look at the Kessel racing car. And right on the apex of performance, the wing mirrors shaking, the rear wing shaking. These GT3 cars look so spectacular on the edge, George.
Certainly do. Wonderful indeed. What a wonderful performance to match. Indeed, and you can see the garage are delighted. And we head over to Alfredo.
David Fumanelli, pole position for the season opener at Estoril. You must be very happy.
Yeah, it was a fantastic feeling to be back in this paddock with GT Sport, where I started my racing career in Euro Formula Open. So it's great to be back here on pole. We had a very difficult beginning of the weekend because we had an unfortunate crash in the Thursday test, but the guys did an amazing job to repair the car. We were not sure until the end if it was repairable or not, but to be here with such a nice lap time in qualifying, also with a nice gap to the second place, is a fantastic feeling. So I have to thank the guys for the amazing car they gave me today.
First time in the GTOpen, but as you said, of course, you are a well-known face in GT Sport events. And here, Estoril, a very special track, a very nice track, I think, for a driver.
Yeah, exactly. As you can see, it's nice weather, nice cars. The GT field is very competitive, especially in our class in Pro-Am. Very good teams, very good drivers. So the track is a little bit old school, so it's nice. I like this type of tracks where you cannot do much mistakes. So let's see in the race. Let's try to keep it on track, keep it clean, and fingers crossed for a podium.
We'll see. Well done for now.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Fumanelli. He was the runner-up in Euro Formula Open in 2011, but he's at the top of the tree in this qualifying session here at Estoril. We go racing later this afternoon in the International GT Open. It'll be David Fumanelli and Joe Osborne on the front row of the grid when we go racing later. But from Estoril for now, from myself, Adam Weller, and George Morgan, it's farewell.
Esatto, bravo. Sony, sì, che l'ha comprato, vabbè, dai, sì.